So you're watching your favorite YouTuber or you're reading an article and you hear the reviewer say the words neutral sound or warm sound, exciting sound. But what does that really mean to you? What is a neutral sound? What is a warm sound? Yo, Kpaceguy here on YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. We're going to talk about that here today. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you're not. Thank you guys so much for 25,000 subscribers. A little bit late for the celebration, but we did surpass 25,000 subscribers this week. So thank you guys so much for that. I greatly appreciate that. Also, remember, we are doing a subscriber showcase for you guys. So if you have a home theater or a car setup that you are proud of and you want to show it to me, send it to my email as well as all of your components, your speakers, your seats, everything you use, and send it to me in an email and I'll put you up here on my channel. If you're not sure what subscriber showcase is, make sure you hit the playlist down below. Anyway, let's get right back to the video. So let's talk about what a warm sound is and what a neutral sound sounds like. And this is going to be my personal opinion, but hopefully this will give you guys a good idea of what we mean when we say warm sound, neutral sound, and all the other types of ways we describe a sound. Now, let's start with a neutral sound. Neutral sound, when you hear the word neutral, you probably think of flat. Maybe not exciting, right? And maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. For me, when I talk about a speaker or an amplifier or something and I say it has a really neutral sound, I'm thinking of no coloration or very little of it. Coloration meaning that the speaker or the amplifier or whatever doesn't add any extra character to the sound. It sounds probably like it's supposed to. True to life is what I think of when I think of neutral. Now, neutral isn't always the best sound to go for. Sometimes a neutral sound, depending on the speaker, can sound a little bit dull and boring. But sometimes a neutral sound can sound pretty accurate and exciting and allows you to tune it the way you want it to be tuned instead of having to fix something that's already kind of preset, maybe like a warm sound, for example. So when I say neutral sound, I'm thinking more of a flat, more true to life, realistic sound, which is actually the sound that I like to go for, with a little hint of warmth. Now, what does warm sound mean? What is warmth? Well, I think of warmth as pretty mid-range heavy or maybe bass heavy, something that has, a lot of a body to it. And that also can be a good sound too. Me personally, I like a really smooth bass, but I like a little bit of accented bass in the really low subterranean area because I want that emphasis, that impact. So speakers that give me that impact, I tend to favor more than speakers that don't. When I buy speakers, I look for speakers that dig in the low 40s to low 30 hertz range because I want them to give me as much bass on their own so that my subwoofer doesn't have to play too many frequencies to help them out, right? So speakers that have a pretty strong, prominent mid-range and pretty hefty bass, I would probably call those warm. Now, warm doesn't also mean bass. It could mean a roll-off on the treble. And when I mean roll-off, meaning that it doesn't have like this huge airy shimmer to it. The treble doesn't, the tweeter. It's a lot more reserved. It's laid back. I call that warm too. Even a speaker that doesn't have a lot of mid-range could be a warm speaker because the tweeter doesn't, extend to 40 kilohertz, or maybe they dial down the treble, they being the manufacturer. So there's a lot of different meanings when we say neutral or warmth, and it just depends on the speaker or whatever the unit, the gear we're talking about. So it can be kind of complicated. Let's go back to the neutral definition. Why do I like a neutral sound better? Well, for me personally, I like to go into my system and make it my own. And if you have a speaker that has its own characteristics, you have to first fix that and then adjust it to make it sound like the way you want it to sound. But if you take a neutral speaker that doesn't have a lot of flavor already baked in, you can add your own flavor, and that's what I'm after. I like a sound that's more true to life. And what I mean by true to life is if I go sit in front of my piano and I play C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C on the piano, I want my speakers to sound just like the piano that I'm playing in real life. And if it doesn't, then how's that true to life? A neutral sound gets me closer to that true to life. Now, ultimately, I take a neutral sound and I add some flavor. So maybe I add some color or some warmth, but at least it started off neutral when I unboxed that speaker or when I hooked up that amplifier, not having to fix what's already kind of baked in from the manufacturer. So I am a neutral sound kind of person, but I don't mind warmth either. I don't mind warmth if it's really nice detailed present bass, but I do mind it in treble. I like a little bit more of an airy, lifted, floating kind of sound. So I like ceramic tweeters or speakers that have 30, 40 kilohertz of range. I like speakers like that because they're lifted, they're airy, they're tall, they flutter. I like that kind of sound. And sometimes you can't get that with a warm speaker, or sometimes it's kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of set back by a heavy mid-range. It kind of puts a backseat to the nice treble because the mid-range is so overpowering. So a warm speaker can get you in more trouble than a neutral speaker can, in my personal opinion. So what I want you guys to do down below is tell me, when you hear the word neutral sound, or when somebody says warm sound, what comes to mind for you when somebody says that? When I say, oh, this speaker is really, really good, really tight bass, neutral sound, what does that mean to you when you hear me say that? I'm curious to know, because I have my own definition in my head, but maybe you take that a totally different way. So tell me what you guys think of neutral and warm. What does that mean to you guys? Leave me that comment down below. Hit that like button and subscribe if you are not already. We will see you guys in the next video. Kpaceguy out. Peace.
I lost my mind. I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down.